Hey there, Trisha with Upcycled Stuff. Today I'm going to take a few minutes to show you how to turn a soda bottle and another smaller bottle, say like a water bottle, into this really pretty flower that you can turn into a pendant for a necklace, which is what I did here, or you can stick a pin on the back of it and wear it on a handbag or a jacket, or if you're gutsy, you can turn it into a hairpiece. So let's get started with a few supplies. In order to make the flowers themselves, you'll need two different size plastic bottles. So I have a 2-liter and one that's a little bit bigger than a water bottle, but it's not quite a 2-liter either. Water bottles are okay, but they don't tend to have this floral shape bottom on most of them, so you want to pay attention to that. You'll also need a pair of scissors to cut the bottoms off, a hair dryer, and that's just what you'll need to get the flowers started. Once the flower's done, you'll need some stained glass paints. They come in different types. So this one here is just a kit that had some. I don't use the stained glass paints an awful lot, so I bought some smaller cups that had a lot of different variety in it. And then this is just a larger tube. You'll need obviously a paintbrush. You'll need my handy dandy little hole puncher. You're just gonna need to make holes in the plastic soda bottles. So anything, maybe a nail and a hammer. It is really hard to get the pin through the plastic on these water bottles. It's pretty thick. So a hammer and nail will work fine. You'll need just a little bit of beading wire and a button. You can use a button that has 4 holes, like maybe a button that came with a pair of pants or a sweater, you know, those extra buttons that you get. I have them piling up in my craft room. This one is a really pretty vintage button that I'm going to use. So those are the supplies that you're going to need. Go ahead and get them ready, and let's get going. Okay, so go ahead and cut off the bottom of your soda bottles. You'll cut right about where that line is, where the label is marked by. You can just take your scissors, poke it in to get it started. Cut all the way around on both of your bottles, and then when you're done, to make this look a little bit more like a flower, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut. So let me turn this upside down so you can see some of the plastic off in the center of these two sections that sort of look like petals. So let me demonstrate rather than trying to explain. So I'm just going to start sort of in the center of this little cut part and start to shape my petal. I'm not going to cut too far down, and then I'll do the same thing over here. Start in the center to start rounding it. And then you'll just want to make these two pieces meet. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to use a blow dryer to shape that later. So just keep doing that on all of your petals. Again, start about the middle, dip in, center. Alright, go ahead and get both of your pieces done just like that. Okay, once you have your two pieces that are cut like flowers, you're going to start to make the holes for threading your wire in your button. I don't think you're going to be able to see this, but I have put 2 holes in this smaller one, and I'll show you how I did it. And now I've taken it and I've lined it up. I've dropped it inside my bigger one, and I've put my pin through that hole and just put a little mark on the flower underneath so that the holes line up the right way. Now if you have a button with 4 holes, go ahead and do 4, but try to find one that has 2. This isn't the easiest thing to do in the world. Okay, so let's move on to the holes. So I'm going to explain it, and then I'm going to go off camera because I actually use a blow dryer to help the process. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the holes that you just made, or the little marks that you made. So I have one here. Yeah, right there. And you're going to take your push pin or your hammer and nail, and you're going to start pushing through that hole. Now here's where I'm going to go off camera, because I'm actually going to heat this up a little bit you take the hair dryer and you make this hot, you still have to work at it a little bit, but you'll be able to get the push pin to go through a little bit more quickly. Not like butter, but just doesn't take as much. But I'm gonna essentially just put this in here and start twisting it back and forth until it comes all the way through. Okay, so once you have the holes in the bottom of your soda bottle bottoms, you're gonna start to make these look a little bit more delicate with a blow dryer. So what you're gonna do, let me explain it to you and then I'll show you, because when the hair dryer is going, it'll get loud. You're gonna flip this over onto the table and you're gonna point your hair dryer at the edge of the flower or the top of the table. And as the hair dryer is going, you're going to gently press on your flower. Gently. You don't want to make it too curly. So as you're applying pressure, these will start to curl under. Some of them may curl out, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nature's not, right? And then you'll do the same with the other one. Just a word of caution on the larger one, be really careful not to heat it up too much and have too much of a bend, because if you have too many petals bending inward, this won't fit on the inside. So let's go ahead and get started on this one. So it takes a second to get started, but once it does start, it moves really fast. So just pay really close attention. Once the plastic starts to look like it's moving, you want to get your flower turning on the table so you can get all the petals, and then get it out of the heat before it just completely melts down on you. So then you'll do the same thing with the second one, and you'll pop it on the inside. See, that was a pretty perfect fit. So as little as that's curled under, that's all you want. Okay, now go ahead and grab your paints and your paintbrush. So let me just tell you that I'm using stained glass paints, but these aren't waterproof. So if you're intending on doing anything around water with these, you'll probably want to use a different color paint or a different type of paint, one made especially for plastics, which means it's not going to be very opaque. Oh, it looks like my paints are dried out here. It's been a while since I've used them. So there we go, some nice yellow. So, I mean, I don't need to tell you how to paint, but it's gonna look messy when you're doing it. You're gonna see strokes, but I rather like that part of it, so just have fun with it. Now, so you see this is coming out pretty dark. It will dry a lot lighter. You might want to put a couple coats on. But what I do when I'm painting my flowers is I do the insides one color, and then I find another color and I do the center of it. And then I might do like a contrasting color on the smaller one, like maybe purple or green or blue or whatever. But I do the center the same, because when they're sitting on top of each other, you want them to be the same, otherwise they're going to create some other color. So go ahead and start painting your flowers. And this is another reason why you don't want to curl it under too much. If you curl it too much, it'll be hard to paint. I've had some that have like completely curled under, and I've been like shoving my paintbrush inside. And I haven't tried to paint first, then heat. I don't really think that that's a good idea. So I heat my stuff up first and curl it and then paint. So that's essentially what I do with those. So go ahead and paint those. We'll put them aside and let them dry, and then I'll show you how to put everything together. Okay, once you have your two pieces all dried from being painted, holes in them, they're melted, you're ready to put it together. So what you'll need to do that is your two flower pieces, you'll need a button. If you have just a place with one hole in it, then you'll just need one length of wire. But if you have the average four hole button, you'll need two lengths of wire. All right, so let's go ahead and take our wire and thread it through our button. Yes, I did just overemphasize the word button. All right, once it's in the button, just give it a little bend so that you can get the pieces closer together when they go through your flower. So start with the first one, your smaller one. And if your holes didn't quite get made big enough and your wire doesn't fit, here's what you can do. I'll show you, because I just had to do it off camera. So you take your thumbtack again, stick it back inside your hole, and then in a circular motion, just twist it while it's inside, and it'll open up that hole a little bit more. All right, so back to threading our button. So you're gonna thread your wire through. Easy peasy like, you know? There we go. Just wants to give me a hard time on that side. All right, just give it a good tug until it's in there the way you want it. I'm thinking that probably a 4-hole button is going to work better. This one here just wants to stand up and wiggle a bit, but you'll get the picture here anyway. Okay, so it's in there. Then you're going to line this up and stick the wires through your larger flower. There we go. All right. So lesson learned. I'm thinking definitely the flatter 4-hole buttons. I have a wobbly button. It's all right, it'll stay. Then just flip it over. Give it a good twist. And if you want to use your needle nose pliers here to give it a nice tight twist, you can do that too. All right. And then just give it a good snip. And then you can bend those pieces over. Just give it a good push. There you go. And there you go. You have your really pretty plastic flower that's just about nearly all upcycled. My buttons were vintage. The flowers came from soda bottles. The only thing I bought and paid for were the paints that I had on there, and those were just from another project anyway. And just a little smidge of wine there. Of wine. Maybe I should be drinking wine. And just a little smidge of wire.